Warren Buffett once said, "I like to invest in businesses that are so wonderful that even if an idiot is running them, they'll still be successful because I know one day they will." He likes businesses that are simple, that have high margins and low fixed costs. We're here to talk to you today about a business that acquires raw materials for 25 cents a unit, sells them in a large and fast-growing industry that ultimately will derive $12 of value per unit. Hi, I'm Bill Ryan, CEO of Everclean Coating Solutions. My colleagues and I, Corey Thompson, the inventor and Chief Technology Officer, and Manish Phargat, our Chief Operating Officer, are going to share our plans with you to clean up the dirty glass business with our nanoparticle glass coating. We're going to start by taking a look at the questions that must be addressed when we translate our exclusive rights into a value-creating business. We're going to talk about the problem, our solution, the market, and whether it's truly sustainable. We're going to talk about our strategies to commercialize our technology, and then we're going to talk about how we make money. Let's start with the problem. So we're all familiar with the problem of dirty glass. Well, in the solar business, this is a real significant problem. Dirt on glass prohibits sunlight from getting to the solar cells to be processed. This is actually, the cost of this is over $100 million across the globe. There's another problem that has to do with reflected light. So we've all experienced, if we're outside and we've got a laptop computer or a cell phone, the problem with glare on glass. Well, the reason that glare is there is because light bounces off of glass, which is horrible for a solar panel. Light needs to get through the glass. This problem is over $134 million globally, where sunlight is not being processed by the solar panel. Total losses, $81 million in the US, $234 million globally. We also know that there's customer demand for our product. We have heard from the PV Manufacturers Consortium that there's interest in our technology. They've reached out to us and asked us to collaborate. So we know that the consortium of customers are looking for our solution. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Corey, who's going to talk to you about that solution.
So what we've developed at Everclean Coating Solutions is a nanoparticle coating that's applied directly to the surface of the glass used in packaging solar panels. This creates what's known as a superhydrophilic surface, or a surface that really likes water. When water hits the surface, it spreads out rapidly and it picks up dirt and contaminants as it does and removes them from the surface. In the state of Kentucky alone, even though there aren't very many solar installations, this has cost the state $643,000. What you see in the upper right image is bare glass compared to our coated glass. You can tell when water hits bare glass, it forms droplets. If that glass is dirty, like pollen on a car, you get water spotting. The contaminants aren't removed, they're just localized. With ECS, when water hits it, it spreads out, forms a thin film that you can actually see straight through, and as the water flows, it removes contaminants. The bottom images are actual microscope images of contaminants on the glass. You can tell with bare glass, those contaminants are just localized. But with ECS, we're able to remove more than 90% of the contamination. The other benefit of our coating is it's anti-reflective. Other self-cleaning coatings that try to do this actually reflect valuable light energy. But with Everclean, we can increase the amount of light going through the glass and increase the output of a solar panel. So a typical solar panel has an aluminum housing. Then the solar cell is packaged inside of that housing, and then it's covered with a sheet of glass. By adding our nanoparticle coating, we can boost the efficiency and boost the output of that panel by greater than 4%. So what our product really looks like. This is our logo behind a sheet of bare glass. You can see the reflection. By adding our coating, you can see right through the glass. The other differentiating features of our coating is it's durable. The durability testing has been ongoing now for 10 months in the lab, and we've seen absolutely no degradation to this point. It's low cost as well. I can do this on a lab scale for 20 cents per square meter. What's unique about this is that when we go to full-scale manufacturing, the glass manufacturer doesn't have to have any new equipment. He can use his currently installed equipment to put down our coating. Also, it's non-hazardous. The active ingredients in our coating are silica or sand and water. Now, there are some competing coatings out there that are trying to address these problems. You have self-cleaning coatings, which can really be divided into two groups. You have super hydrophobic coatings where water beads up and runs off, like Clark Clean. And then you have Pilkington Active, which is a hydrophilic coating, but it blocks sunlight as it goes through the glass. These are difficult to manufacture and they reduce light transmittance. Then you have anti-reflective coatings like Kepri Coat or Brisbane Materials. These are anti-reflective, but they have absolutely no self-cleaning benefit. In the market currently, you either take one and lose the other, or take anti-reflective and lose self-cleaning. There's nothing that does both, except for Everclean. We provide the best of both of these worlds. We're low cost, easy to manufacture, durable, and non-hazardous materials. Now, the IP behind this, I was actually working on creating a super hydrophobic coating. But in the lab, going through the experiments, what I actually found was a super hydrophilic coating that actually cleaned better and was anti-reflective. And as we talked to customers, we found out that this is really of high demand in the solar industry. So since this was a university project, it's been disclosed to the University of Arkansas TLO, and we're working with them, and we do have a student agreement to where when we file a provisional patent, that we will have an exclusive rights to that patent. Now, as far as where our IP is at, lab scale development is done. So our current focus is on prototyping this and actually moving towards industry certifications. We have to pass certain qualifying tests before we can be utilized in the industry. We plan to do this by working with a beta customer in the third quarter of this year. Now, what's unique about our IP is that we can differentiate into multiple markets. Anywhere that you need a self-cleaning coating or an anti-reflective coating, we have applications. So this opens up other markets like building glass, automotive, or even eyeglasses. So to tell you more about the market, I'm going to hand it back over to Bill.
Thank you, Corey. Let's now talk about how we're going to commercialize this IP into a viable business solution that creates value. The first chart here is simply to illustrate the fact that this is a market that has significant growth in it. Closed last year with $330 million of revenue and is projected to double by 2015. Now, Corey talked a little bit about some of the industries that we might go into. This is just designed here to show that the industry that we've written our business plan is on just manufactured solar panels. So it's not solar panels that are already in the market, which is an incremental opportunity for us, nor is it other adjacent industries such as building glass. So there's lots of growth opportunity. Okay, our management team. So you met Corey, our inventor and chief technology officer. Corey is a student at the University of Arkansas pursuing his PhD in photonics and microelectronics. Also, you'll be hearing a moment from now from Manish Phogat. Manish has actually started and sold a company already, so he brings tremendous experience to us in this arena. And he's also got 6 years experience in supply chain, as well as a student at the U of A pursuing his MBA. And then myself, Bill Ryan, 27 years of experience, primarily with Coca-Cola, in various sales, insights, and general management positions, and a student also pursuing my MBA at the U of A. Another important point here is our key advisors. So we've chosen advisors really to cover 3 very important areas for us. One of them is technical, to make sure that we have a technically sound product. Another one is industry, to help us penetrate the industry so that we are talking to the customers that we can add the most value to. And then the third one is financial, to make sure that we are creating relationships with investors who are really complementary to what we're bringing to the party. So our business model is fairly simple. You take a panel, an average panel produces 140 watts of electricity. It costs $300. By applying our coating, which will sell for $3.60, it actually creates 146 watts of energy, which translates to a value of $312. So our customers are receiving $12 benefit for the $3.60 that they're paying us. So let's take a look at how this would translate on a day-to-day, order-to-order basis. So our customers send orders to us. We don't touch the orders. The orders would be electronically sent to our supplier. We don't touch the physical goods either. The physical goods are sent from our supplier to our customers. Our value is created through the expertise that we have in the business and the ongoing relationship that we have with our customers to make sure that our product is performing as expected. The value created, $12 for our customers, is translated back into $3.60 of revenue for us, translated back into 25 cents a unit that goes to our supplier. So you can see a very healthy margin business for each area of the value chain. Our sales and marketing strategy, so we're very deliberate about how we're taking this product to market. Beginning in March, we're going to be finally pursuing the technical and economic buyers of our customers. Up to this point, we've been pursuing relationships through our advisors to understand the industry well enough so that when we're actually talking to these customers who will be our initial customers, that we've accomplished two things. One of them is a really solid understanding of the industry, and two is a really solid footing on our IP so that we're not letting anything get out that we're not ready to tell our customers about. Our growth strategy is really fairly simple. We're in a growing industry, so that's great news. We've also got a low cost of goods advantage that will allow us to grow market share of that industry very fast. And finally, we're able to go globally in the solar industry as well as into adjacent industries to continue to grow. A venture like this certainly comes with risks, and we've identified 4 areas of risk that we're very focused on mitigating. The first one is we're in an industry that's in turmoil. Tremendous deflation, a lot of question just in the broader sustainability industry and different components of it. And so that's an issue. We're introducing new technology that comes with patents and licensing and things like that. These are really big deals that we need to do well if we're to mitigate. And finally, competition. There are coating solutions out there today. They don't perform like we do, but they're out there. So how are we going to mitigate that? We're going to leverage the fact that we've got a simple solution. It's low cost. We have money to reinvest against R&D to differentiate our product. We're able to get to market very quickly because our product is simple. We've got platform growth opportunity to go into adjacent industries, and then we're focused on creating value for all of our stakeholders. I'm going to go through just a couple of the milestones here fairly quickly, focused really on 2013 and 2014. So there's 2 big things that we need to accomplish this year. The first one is to get our first customer and to get this product into the marketplace. And the second is to develop a relationship with a group of investors who would work well with us, complement what we bring to the party, and help us to scale this business very quickly. In the coming years, we're really focused on growing our market share in our core markets, expanding into the adjacent markets, and ultimately planning an exit and then exiting the business in 2018. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Manish Phagat, who will take you through the financials.
Thank you. So the next question is how much money do we make out of this business venture? As you can see, our growth is driven by 2 factors. The first is the growth of anti-reflective market within the solar industry, and the second is our ability to penetrate the market with a differentiating product. These are the profit projections we have. Because of a very low COGS, we are making a lot of gross margins on financials. It enables us to reinvest the money into the R&D and explore different markets. We're going to break even in the first year, that's 2014. This is the investment milestone we're looking at, with the starting money coming from the founders. The next round, the angel round, would give us prototyping, supply and distribution network, and certification from the industry. Our exit strategy is pretty simple. These are some of the potential buyers we have identified. They are the big players in the market. They have acquired smaller players in the market in the last 10 years. These are some of the comparables, the highest being $4.8 billion and the lowest being $113 million. This is the investment return we're offering to our investors. That's 5x of our net income and cash on hand on the 5th year, 2017. So the value of our business venture in 2017 is $117 million. Thank you for your time, and we are open for the questions.
Judges, you have 15 minutes for Q&A.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
About your intellectual property?
Right.
Just making sure I can talk in the mic. As I understand it, you haven't yet filed your intellectual property at all.
We filed a disclosure with the university. There's going to be a vote on Monday. That's an up or down vote on whether the university will pursue the provisional patent.
So if I'm not mistaken, you're talking about outsourcing production to Nissan Chemical.
Right.
Have you done any disclosure of your potential IP to Nissan Chemical yet?
No. What we've been doing is purchasing the raw materials and doing this on a lab scale. Since it's low quantities, I can handle it with our lab space. But whenever we do go to production, we will have to disclose that.
All right. So what are the IP claims that you hope the university will make for you?
Right. The use of silica as an anti-reflective coating isn't novel. It's been done by notably Brisbane and Capricoat. What's really novel is how we put it down. We're able to put it down in a very low-cost manner. So the claims will be all around the production side of that.
So they're process types of claims?
Yes.
They're not fundamental claims?
Right. We're pursuing one fundamental claim, but the footing for it is not as strong as the processing claims.
Hi. So I guess I had a couple questions. You talked about the ability to retrofit existing glass. And so would that be by replacing the whole window? Would that be by recoating, coating what's on there?
Right. It would be through recoating. That's something that's still in lab development. But as one of the very first orders of business for research and development, that's where we're headed because we recognize that's a big opportunity.
And why are you going after the solar panel market first? You've got all these other potential markets, whether it's automotive glass or lenses. So what's so compelling about this particular market?
So it's less about the market because the market obviously is in turmoil. It's more about our ability to differentiate. So if you think about it, there's two real needs in that solar market, anti-reflective and self-cleaning. We are the only coating that can do both. And so by going into that market, we get into the market with a real point of differentiation, significant value, and begin to build a brand and a reputation with our customers that allows us to then move into the adjacent markets. But we want to make sure that we do not commoditize our product, and that's why we're initially starting in solar.
Can you just talk a little bit about, in terms of sales, have you looked at any of the weak links potentially on your team in terms of your capability of reaching the market, and how are you actually going to sell? I assume you're selling to the glass manufacturers, and you had mentioned there's $12 value there. That's a $12 value to the glass manufacturer, or is that the output at the end, which is the solar producer?
It's a $12 value once the panel is assembled. And so there's really two different segments of customers very closely related. One of them you referred to, which is the glass manufacturer. The other is panel manufacturers who also manufacture their own glass. And so that is an area where we're going to need to strengthen our capability because the industry knowledge is very, very important. We do feel good with proper advice of getting our initial customers, but as we move into kind of tier 2 customers, we're going to need more and deeper knowledge of the market.
So, quick question, please. So, the competitively, early in your story, you talk about the Chinese competitive nature in the manufacturing of solar panels. But so, what's the barrier to entry for a Chinese company to replicate what you're doing? How difficult is that for them to do?
So from a technology standpoint, after this coating is applied, if you were to do chemical analysis or any of that of the surface, all you would see is the signature of silica. So really, there's no marker of how it is put down. So that's really the hurdle and the I guess, protected IP of what we're
But
doing.
if your IP is a process type of claim,
Right.
and you're disclosing that in the patent application, that kind of makes it available to someone who wants to
Right.
imitate in a place where litigation on IP isn't that common.
Exactly.
Whereas if you kept it as a trade secret, it would be undiscoverable unless they were able to capture the trade secret.
Right.
Why are you choosing to disclose to a patent filer?
So what we're choosing to do immediately is to file a provisional patent, and that does really two things for us. The provisional can be rather vague. It doesn't have to be exactly our processing parameters. And then on top of that, it puts a stake in the ground. So if we do decide that a full patent filing is the way to protect our IP, then we do have that stake in the ground of the date of invention.
So what percentage of the AR, the total AR market, do you sort of believe in your model you are going to penetrate?
Right.
What percentage kind of market share do you think you have in 2017 with the AR market?
Our business plan was written on 25% market share.
What's the basis on which you get to that belief?
Right. So the metrics that we've used are based around the solar glass market and the growth of that market related to the growth of solar panels. What's going on right now in the solar glass market, it's only 50% or so of solar glass has an anti-reflective coating, but that's expected to be standard equipment come 2015. So what the market really looks like, the market itself is going to double in terms of capacity, and then the penetration is going to double as well. So based on that rapid growth and the unique features that we provide, we believe that we can capture that.
So you get yourself to 25% because you think you have superior properties and some kind of a cost advantage.
Right.
But as you're not manufacturing anything,
Right.
the cost advantage ultimately rests with your supplier. What prevents your supplier from sticking it to you in a less than gentle way?
Right.
That's an excellent question, and one that we certainly anticipated. Our supplier is a very well-regarded chemical supplier, has a business much, much larger than any business that we might dream up to be. We're looking to create a long-term partnership with them, make it economically feasible for them to be successful in this venture, and that's part of it. And Bob, just to kind of go back to your earlier question about patent or not patent and trade secret, we're setting ourselves up so that we get to make that choice over the course of the next 6 months. We're taking steps here immediately that give us both of those avenues to choose.
I have a question. Your business plan alludes to competitors. You specifically cite 3M, Royal DSM, and the Pilkington Group.
Right.
3M is especially known for doing terrific R&D work and having their own skunk works.
Right.
And yet you cite that your small size and your focus on R&D allows you to generate your IP and to respond to needs quicker. How do you think you're going to be able to compete against a 3M when they have the capability and they have the scale to bring that in? I'm quite concerned about, especially in process patents, how one thinks you're going to be able to compete successfully against that.
So I'll address it based on my own personal experience in working for 21 years with Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has a much larger research and development capability and an outstanding one within the beverage field. But if you look at categories that have been invented and products that have been invented in beverages, they have in very large part been invented by entrepreneurs. And so whereas 3M has incredible research and development capability, and they will be a very viable competitor, we do believe that the entrepreneurial nature of how we go about and our investment in R&D gives us an advantage there.
And yet you plan to sell to them too. I mean, 3M was one of the companies that you thought you would sell the technology to. So how do you
Right.
work from competitor to purchaser?
So what we really plan to demonstrate through growing our business is that what we have works, that it's viable, and that it's a threat to them, and to essentially be acquired because we've done all the work at scalability, the lab scale production, and all of that work would already be completed by the time we were
Do you
acquired.
think you have enough money for R&D? I'm getting a little concerned that your
Right.
money's not enough.
So the money from R&D in the business plan is mainly scalability work. And due to the process that we've chosen as deposition, the low-cost process, the equipment required there and the development that's required is actually pretty small. As far as the groundwork R&D, a lot of that's already been completed under NSF-funded research at the university. So the original IP has been generated out of NSF's funds.
That's helpful. Thank you.
And the platform that we're working with today is really a significant platform to allow that growth. We really have a leg up to get started in a lot of these things.
How long does a solar panel normally last? What's the normal life of a solar panel?
25 years.
25 years.
25 years?
Yes, sir.
So right now you've got data on your coating of 10 months.
Right. So the
How long does your coating need to last in order to make it in the marketplace?
it needs to last 25 years, and there's no indication now of modes of failure that we should be concerned about. One of the things surrounding industry certifications that we need to get, there's tests such as a damp heat test and a blowing sand test that all prove that lifetime. They're kind of accepted as industry standards. Once funding, let me address, on this lab-size samples, doing that testing doesn't prove much. So what we really need to do is scale this with a beta customer, subject those to the long-term testing or the advanced aging testing, and then demonstrate the viability at that point.
So you have competing products in the market today. Neither, the ones that you cited, don't perform as well on one basis or another.
Right.
But so how does your price on your product compare to those competing products? So if you put yourself on a quadrant of, cost and quality, are
Right.
you going to be low cost, high quality, high cost, high quality, and how does that compare to your competitors?
Right. So pricing kind of gets into the solar market cost are plummeting to begin with. So how we've positioned ourselves in that respect is we've looked at the benefit that we provide and estimated from there. The coatings that are currently in the market are tied up in contracts and all of that. So actual per unit cost aren't available because it's negotiated between the company and whoever's putting it down. We can see an end user value, but not necessarily the exchange between the company. So we've positioned ourselves to be competitive with anti-reflective coatings and then have the added benefit of self-coating.
I want to interrupt. This was fantastic to send this to us, and I put my thumbs on both of them.
Right.
I have massive thumbprints on both sides, and it's not clear anymore.
Right.
Does it require water
It does.
to wash this thing off?
Yes.
So if I'm in a desert and I get dirty, I have to wait for water?
Right. So solar in the desert, solar panels are already outfitted with washing systems. And currently in the Mojave Desert, they use 160 million gallons of water a year in order to clean the panels. So we do still require water, but we require drastically less. So what's currently taking 160 million gallons, we can do with 10 million.
Thank you.
So I want to turn to a different topic. What is your pre-money valuation, and why do you think that's the appropriate pre-money valuation, and what's the security that you're trying to sell?
Most important answer I'm going to give to you is that we are very firm that we need $750,000 to get our venture to market. That we're crystal clear on due to the uses of funds. The valuation, we want to negotiate that with our investors to make sure that this is a venture that's good for them and it's good for us. The analysis that we've done so far would suggest that that valuation is between $2.5 and $3 million pre-money.
And what is the security?
So as far as actual offering terms, we haven't negotiated that as
So you're
well.
waiting to have someone propose a security. What do you think the likely security would be?
Since I'm the engineer, I'll pass that to you.
Yeah, I don't think that we could accurately answer the question.
So I noticed you don't expect any future rounds of financing. I've heard that from pretty much every company that comes in to ask for investment dollars.
Right.
How do you plan to mitigate the possibility that that's wrong?
That's a great question, and we have talked to many entrepreneurial firms who had that assumption and found it to be false. So we're very sensitive to the pain that a small company goes through as they're growing. Our plans really are to execute our play, which has very high margins, begins being cash positive in year 2, and to then reinvest that money.
Thank you very much. Judges, thank you very much.